Hello and welcome to Frank's School on the third year, 56th day first video. I'll be very brief in this video because the second video that I put on for today is over 20 minutes long. What that video is about is a collection, the exhibition of a collection of antique engines and machinery, mostly belonging to a man named Richard McCoy, who lives not too far from me. But I say et al. That's a way of saying and others, because there's a young man who has a collection of small engines down by the river, a man who owns the stuff on a trailer, and another man who brought an engine, and there were several guys helping. So there are others. But the one who owned most of that stuff and what really made that possible was a man named Richard McCoy, retired now. And you'll see him. He's got a gray t-shirt on and he's got real light gray hair, almost white hair. You'll see him in the videos. Well, the collection that was put on display at Bedford Fall Foliage Festival, which has been going on for many years. For the last 2 years, that hasn't been there. They did not give him the space, which amazed a lot of people. But they've reinstated him this year. He just, for the love of showing this to people, he goes to so much expense and bother to bring that stuff in and set it up. You'll hear, it's going to be noisy because you're going to hear hit and miss engines going all the time. They call it hit and miss. And over at the Southern Cove Power Union, there were some of them. As soon as the flywheel slows up a little bit, the governor makes a spark go, or gives it gas enough so that anyway, it'll fire again. It's the spark, and then it'll keep the speed up. So they're called hit and miss. If there's no load on it, it just doesn't fire very much. It just keeps going. These have very heavy flywheels. You'll also see that I think everything had flat belts as opposed to V-belts. A V-belt made out of rubber has displaced flat belts in machinery with V-belt pulleys. So these are flat belt pulleys. The pulleys have a little bit of a crown to them. Let's see, looking your way, a crown like this, and that means the belt will stay on. If it were dished, the belt would climb right off the pulley and go off. But since there's a little bit of a crown, the belt will stay on that high spot. And you'll see flat belts almost everywhere. You don't really see them, but Babbitt, maybe with an E here, I'm not sure. Babbitt bearings are the kind of bearings in almost all of that machinery. This is a soft kind of metal, a lot like lead that you can pour in and therefore replace the bearings. They were replaced by ball bearings around the 1920s or 1930s. Most of the engines, I would guess, date from about 1910, 1900. I'm not real good. I don't own any of those engines. And the farm machine, or the machinery grinding various kinds of grain, a lot of people ask me, how old is this machine? I was tending a corn sheller, a double corn sheller, and I said, I don't know, maybe 1890, so maybe 120 years old. Just not really sure. Now, a couple of highlights to look for. I said I'd be brief, and I will be brief. Flat belts. You're going to see a man named Kirk Taylor throw a flat belt on to the moving engine, the biggest engine that was there, the engine that was powering a shingle mill. And it's a twisted belt. Now, they twist the belt in order to reverse the direction. If you've got an engine going this way and you need the machine to be going this way, well, obviously a belt's going to make it, but if you twist the belt, it'll reverse it. And so that's a twisted belt, and it's dangerous. You'll see him. I got him on film. He actually throws it onto the pulley while the engine's moving. If it were not a twisted belt, it wouldn't be quite as hazardous. You'll see other times guys do small ones of those. And the other thing I wanted to point out, and also I'm sure you'll find it interesting when the men are climbing onto the flywheel so that their weight is there to get those things started, get these engines started. But I want to point out there was a little boy who danced where I was working his corn sheller, and it is such a neat piece of machinery. And I let children and people put the corn in. I'm being real careful with them. And one little boy, he broke into a spontaneous dance. And I didn't get very much of it filmed, but I did get just a little bit of it. So notice that boy dancing. He just was so happy, so excited to see this stuff. All right, enjoy, and then we'll see you next time.